Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Thank you for being here today as we celebrate the opening of the new Molecular Diagnostic and Research Laboratory. I am joined at this afternoon's press conference by the Minister of Health, the Honorable Kim Wilson, the Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Colonel David Birch, and MDL Director and Government Scientific Advisor, Dr. Karika Weldon. Dr. Weldon had a vision when she returned home to help her country by utilizing her scientific expertise as well as her desire to help other young Bermudians interested in this field. The government was proud to support that dream and saw the leadership that Dr. Weldon could provide to help Bermuda manage through the pandemic. She quickly and successfully set up a testing regime that helped save lives and keep her country informed of the situation that we were facing with the coronavirus. Bermuda's coronavirus testing regime has consistently remained one of the strongest around the world, ranking us in the top 10 since last year. As of yesterday, MDL has processed some 325,000 coronavirus tests. Dr. Weldon has trained young scientists and lab assistants who have done an outstanding job to provide Bermuda with a world-class testing facility that is the envy of many countries worldwide. Some of these countries have even reached out to us to try to better understand the model we have in place and how we can process and turn around results so quickly and efficiently. I am incredibly proud that thanks to the efforts of so many dedicated Bermudians, we have the resources we need to do critical scientific work here for ourselves. We must believe in the talents of our highly educated and trained young Bermudians, knowing they have and will continue to do the job that is expected of them. The Molecular Diagnostic and Research Laboratory is an example of how public-supported institutions can help to reduce healthcare costs while providing valuable opportunities for Bermudians to advance. This is in line with the government of Bermuda's commitment, seeing both of these issues become a reality: reduce healthcare costs and Bermudians being provided career opportunities in their own country. I wish to extend my thanks and appreciation to everyone who has made today possible, specifically to the hard and dedicated work of the team of the Ministry of Public Works, who made sure that the MDL was provided with a temporary home at Southside, working with the Ministry of Health to provide them a second temporary home over at Southside after we set up the drive-through facilities last year, and also the work that was done to make sure that this state-of-the-art lab is now ready and so that MDL can move forward with its accreditation process. And Dr. Weldon and her team must be congratulated for the work they do every day, as well as for the work undertaken to redesign this building to be the new home for coronavirus testing and in the future, other vital testing in Bermuda. Thank you. And now I will turn it over to the Minister of Public Works, whose team has worked diligently making sure that this home is ready for MDL. Minister?
Thank you, Premier. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to be joined by the Premier, the Honorable E. David Birch, Minister Wilson, my ward colleagues, Minister Lawrence Scott and MP Neville Tyrrell, Dr. Karika Weldon, and members of the Bermuda Government Molecular Diagnostic Laboratory. This journey began in April 2020, when the government faced with a raging deadly pandemic, the likes of which have not been experienced in over 100 years, and working under the most adverse conditions and circumstances, launched the Bermuda Government Molecular Diagnostic Laboratory at Southside. Through sheer innovation, determination, and yes, leadership, we created a testing facility from scratch, the first of its kind in our island's history. Led by our very own Dr. Karika Weldon, the Southside drive-thru commenced operations on the 24th of April, 2020. Over the past 15 months, the Bermuda Molecular Diagnostic Lab has become a pioneering leader in both Bermuda and the region, processing 325,000 samples, consistently remains in the top 10 in the world in relation to tests done per capita. And here at home, it became our best tool in the fight against COVID-19. But more than that, the MDL has become a home to a community of talented young Bermudians who volunteered to participate in the testing and lab work. This 7-day, 16-hour daily operation relies on the hard work of around 20 of Bermuda's finest, dedicated young people, and we are so very proud of what they have accomplished. So it was only fitting that the government decided to provide this team of dedicated professionals with a permanent, first-class facility to help them continue their critical work. So this is particularly a special day for us at the Ministry of Public Works to see this project come to fruition. We are also joined by representatives of some of the contractors and workers involved in this project, and towards the end of my remarks, I will list them. As you may be aware, the refurbishment of the former Warwick Community Center building into a state-of-the-art MDL facility is part of the Ministry's short-term economic stimulus program that was launched in December 2020. This economic stimulus initiative, valued at $13.3 million, is aimed at providing employment and building opportunities for small to medium-sized contractors. I should note that these projects are mostly infrastructure improvements and have not added any further burden to the government operational expenses. The Bermuda Government MDL Facility Renovation Project was one of the contracts that have been awarded as part of our economic stimulus program, with Grayman Contracting Limited being the successful company engaged to oversee the project. Overall, we are very pleased with the response to the stimulus program thus far from both contractors and employees, which I will be speaking to further tomorrow in the House of Assembly, all of whom want to get to work and help improve our economy. And the completion of the Bermuda Government Molecular Diagnostic Laboratory is a fine example of what can be accomplished when we all work together for the benefit of the people of Bermuda. I wish to take a moment to recognize each of the companies, in addition to Grayman, that were involved in seeing these renovations through to completion. Air Care Limited, A+ Carpentry, East End Asphalt, Eminence, Intelligent Excavation Limited, P&M Electrical, Prime Works Painting, Redeemed Construction, and Tutec. I'd also like to recognize our key government personnel involved in this project: Acting Buildings Manager Mr. Sheridan Ming, Project Manager Mr. Stephen Squire, Electrical Engineer Mr. Jamar Deal, and Network Engineer Mr. Eugene Bassett. Before handing over to Dr. Weldon, let me thank her for her tireless efforts in getting the lab up and running, but also particularly for her dedication, enthusiasm, and guidance to all the young people who have participated and continue to do so in this effort. Thank you. Val?
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. I think this is a normal sound for us as samples are arriving every day, all day. I just want to speak from the heart, if that's okay. It was actually 10 years ago when I finished my first degree in biomedical science, medical biochemistry from the University of Leicester, and decided that instead of going into medicine, which was my initial plan, that I was going to go into research. And I remember very clearly that when I was applying for scholarships and had my interviews, one of the questions was, well, what on earth are you going to do with that in the country? I said, I'm not sure, but I know this is my passion and I want to pursue it. I did not dream that 10 years later, from that summer when I was applying for scholarships, that I'll be standing in Bermuda in a layup. You could have told me that, I would have said no way. I'm very humbled and honored to be able to bring to fruition my dream. As you may see as well in the name, there is now an additional word, the word research. That is primarily because we want to be able to do genetics research on island that will be for human research, plant, animal, species, and be able to give that opportunity to other young people. I am so excited that we have, at this point, I believe, had at least 40 young people come through. We currently have a staff of around 20. There are some here that you'll be able to meet for those who are doing the tour. and to be able to see them utilize what they've learned in university when they did not think they were going to be able to come back to Bermuda and use it, that is what drives me every day. And so I'm grateful to everyone that has supported myself, who have supported the vision, who have seen that, yes, we can do this. We are a little island, but we have a punch, and we know that we do. And now we can do that in science as well and research. I have many words. As you know, I like to talk, but I am just very overwhelmed right now to be able to see this. It's been trying. It's been pushing me to my limits. I worked with Mr. Stephen Squire, I have to mention his name. To design this whole space was very much a different skill set for me, but he was very patient, and to see it all come together is big. So I am grateful to everyone that is here and everyone that will continue to support and who has supported us, and thank you.
For Dr. Weldon. Yes, Dr. Weldon. Dr. Weldon, how many people do you have working here?
Currently we have a staff of 20 that work on site, and we also have a team that does the saliva screening, so they are out in the field, and there's about 10 of them, so 30 in total.
So what are the advantages of this location, and what does this new lab offer that you didn't have in your prior location?
So I can roll down the hill to work. Actually, most of the staff, we live west. So Bermuda's not that big, but drive from Somerset to St. George's or St. David's is a trek every day. So it's a lot closer for most of us. And then as far as, what was the other question, sorry?
The convenience of the location, as well as, what
the difference.
What facilities do you have that you didn't have?
Okay, so that we can spend 10 minutes on that, I think. So the space we had was very temporary at Southside, and we were very gracious to the Ministry of Health and Department of Health for giving us some space. We had a room that was given for us to do testing, and most of the admin stuff that you see here, we have an office space. We didn't have that. We just had a hallway. So it was, trying to maneuver around. We didn't have a nice kitchen, which you will see behind you as well. We didn't have enough locker space for everyone. We had a portion in their machine room to put our machines, but we were sharing the space, right? And so now we have dedicated space for all of those things. We also have one hood, or what you go under to actually do the testing. Now we have two, which you will also see on the tour. And we have a dedicated space that's behind us for receiving the samples and making sure that they're ready. That also used to happen in a hallway. So we're definitely upgraded a lot compared to where we were.
And just so, how do those upgrades affect the numbers in terms of, previously how many tests were you doing a day, and do you think you'll be able to increase that level by any degree?
So as far as testing numbers, I think we were comfortably before doing around 1,000, just comfortably. And you have to bear in mind, when samples come, they have to go somewhere where we're testing them, and it would be times when we used to get maybe like 500 samples, and you would just be like a mine zone trying to walk around them all in different coolers. Now we can easily handle at least 2,000, even probably a bit more than that, storing them in the lab. We have a big -80 freezer, which is probably similar to what you've heard for the vaccines. We have to store our RNA samples in there as well. And so that can store, if you wanted to, probably 5,000-6,000 samples if you just wanted to have them there for a long time. So we definitely have more storage for samples. As far as the turnover, we at the minute are hitting around 2,000 samples a day, just kind of easily. And it doesn't feel like it. I think initially when we came, we were looking at the numbers and was like, oh, this didn't feel like that. And you can tell it's different because of the space that we have.